So why don't you go just take a seat. We'll start in seated. Make sure your seat is as comfortable as you can make it. Because when we start to move our breath, we really need to feel strong in how we're seated. That is the first step in yoga. Second step is my broken record to tell you to lengthen out, sit up tall. Press the shoulders away from the ears. And maybe you might need to draw the blades of the shoulders just a little bit closer together so your chest can lift. Allow your eyelids to be heavy or to close all together. Perhaps when you tune out the world that is around you, you can give yourself an opportunity to tune in the world inside of you. And give yourself these opening breaths to see what it is your body is craving and asking for. It isn't always necessarily movement or exercise. Maybe it's ease, maybe it's energy, maybe it's a mix of many different things. And keep whatever it is that you've landed on just in the back of your mind as you start to move your breath. Start to allow your body to expand as you breathe. So feel the breath fill up the belly, the ribs, and the chest. And exhale to feel that movement of the breath out of the body. Allowing these Dirga Pranayama breaths to be strong and at the same time subtle. So can you find a little bit of ease in your Dirga breath? Take just a few more breaths in this fashion. Let everything just slow down. When you next inhale, fill the body completely with breath. As you reach the top of that breath, hang on to it. Stay here for just a moment or two, and then let it go. Bring your arms out in front of you, and draw those hands together, interlacing your fingers. Flip your palms to face away from you. And then draw the backs of your hands in towards your chest and let those elbows just press away. Now really try to press your elbows out to the side walls and let your fingers work to not let the fingers come apart. They're just creating just a little bit of tension there. And relax your fingers as you press your palms forward. They're still interlaced. Just giving a little bit of ease to that tension it takes to keep the fingers intertwined. Now press your palms, fingers still together, all the way up overhead. And if you need to, bend your elbows to make this a little more accessible. Tops of the shoulders press downward. And once again, start to find that tension as if you're trying to press your elbows to the outer walls, but your fingers are not allowing that to happen, to separate. Keeping just a little bit of engagement in the hands. start to circle your hands above your head. So it's like we're making a little halo right above our head. Now try to make this circle without circling any other part of your body. And then pause that circle somewhere, anywhere. Circle back the other direction. Bring that circle to stillness, palms or backs of hands right above your head. Use a little bit of strength in that left arm to pull the right hand over to the left. And if it comes over far enough, you can even let the right forearm rest on the top of your head. Just don't press it down. Now drag the left hand on over to the right side. Let that right elbow press out. Drawing the hands back to center. If your elbows are very bent like mine are, press them a little bit straighter. Let the hands come forward. And let them come all the way down. Release your hands from one another. Bring your hands out in front of you, so those fingertips are just pointing straight out. You can have your elbows bent at your sides. Now bend those wrists and the fingertips to point upward. Now as you do so, you want to press through the heel of your hand, that very bottom part, and try to let the fingers not really like bend backwards, because they're going to try to do the work. There's a lot of flexibility in your fingers. Just keep them spread wide. Now send those wrists straight once again, and then we'll bend the wrists the opposite way, so tips of the fingers point down. Use the muscles of your forearms to make this happen. Once again, those fingers are going to want to curl in and do the work. Point those fingertips straight forward. Flip the palms up. And then keep those palms facing up. Try to bring your fingers to point at one another. And then slide them back to center. See if you can point them away. See if you can do that without moving the arms. Bring it back to center. Give those hands a little shake. And then we'll take our feet onto the floor. We're going to roll it down onto our backs. So this class, we're not going to come any higher than tabletop in this class. So this is a low to the floor kind of practice tonight. I'm not going to say it's easy, because the minute I say that, then we do something and you guys are like, that was so hard. Let's just say it's subtle and maybe a little mellow today. Bending your knees, feet on the floor if they're not there already. Bring your hands just down by your sides, maybe a little away from the side of your body, just to help you balance. Bring your concentration onto that right hip point, so that right side of your pelvis. Can you press that right side of your pelvis down into the mat, and just a very slight lift of that left side of your pelvis? So if you went really far with this, you'd rock all the way over onto your side. We're not going to do that. This is subtle. Now press the left side of your pelvis down. Lift that right side up. Now keep the caps of your knees pointing upwards. Don't let them sway. Press that right side down one more time. Lift the left side. Checking in, do you have one side that seems really easy to do and one side maybe not so much? And then press that left side down. Lift the right side up. Release that right side down. And then just a little press into the feet. Lift the pelvis upward. Don't come all the way up into a bridge. Come about halfway. So we're not back bending quite here. It's more like we're making a line from our knees down to where our shoulders meet the mat. And once again, we want to keep our knees pointing upward. Don't let them sway, but let your hips sway slightly side to side. When you're back in center, hold it there. Can you drop your hips just halfway down to the floor? So you're probably just, maybe 1 or 2 inches off the floor at the most. Let your hips sway side to side here. And then back in center, let those hips come all the way down. Lift the feet up off the floor, both legs. And we're going to bring our knees over our hips, bent knees. All right, press your lower back down into the floor. Lift your arms up, reach the tips of your fingers straight up to the sky. So if you flipped us over, we would be in tabletop right here. Now we're going to start on our right leg. We're going to keep everything else perfectly still and just circle that right knee. Now this is going to be a slow circle, and it's going to be small. So think maybe grapefruit sized. And now to start incorporating our brains a little bit in this yoga practice, start to circle your left hand while still circling your right knee. And to challenge our brain even more, can you reverse the direction of your circle with just the arm, but not the knee? Now, if that actually happened, that's great. If it didn't, don't worry about it. Just do your best. Let all that circling go. Stillness in the legs and the arms. Reach both arms straight up overhead like you're reaching for the wall behind you. Flex your ankles so that your feet are flexed. So there's a right angle in your feet. Press through your heels, knees still bent. Reach the arms back up for the sky and then let them come all the way down by your sides. Let the feet come down to the floor. Walk your feet away from one another just a step or two. Let your knees sway. So sometimes when we're doing work with our core, our back starts kicking in. If you felt that, then that's why we're just going to drop these feet down, sway the knees. Try to release anything that didn't need to be holding on. Back, knees to center. And lifting the feet back up off the floor. We're going to make that right angle in the knees again. Just about perched over the hips. Trying not to overarch your lower back. Now stretch the arms upward. Keep all this stillness. Circle that left knee around. your knee is trying to move really, really fast or really, really big. Can you challenge yourself to make it small, to make it slow? Start to circle that hand around on the right side, right hand. Remind that belly to hold on here. Now switch direction with just the arm, not the leg. Ooh, this is a harder side for my brain. Now my arm and my leg are making some kind of strange trapezoid. Pause all the circling. Reestablish those right angles in the knees, in the ankles. Reach the arms up overhead. Take a breath all the way down to the bottom of the belly. Fill the lungs completely. Let that breath go as you stretch the arms upward. And bring feet, arms, everything down to the floor. Walk those feet out again. Arms can come all the way down by your sides. Sway the knees side to side. This time, as the knees come side to side, maybe you let a hip point lift just a little bit. Maybe you press the knees down, a little more strength. Only if that feels good in the front of the leg and in the lower back. Draw those knees to center. And we'll take our left leg, crisscross it over the right leg at the knees, like we're just hanging out and lounging here. We want to squeeze the thighs together, internal rotation. Eagle legs here. And you can stay with it right here if this is what your body needs to be tonight. Or you can lift that, that's my right foot, lift the right foot up off of the mat and start to bring the knees in closer to your chest. You can even hang on to the knees, one knee, both knees. And if it sounds like it might be a good idea, you can imagine those feet spreading further and further away from one another. So it's going to be even more rotation here in this pretzel-y position. And sometimes that can be hard to access, in which case, just keep squeezing the knees in toward the chest. Don't worry about what the feet are doing. Now we'll drop that bottom foot, that's the right foot, back to the mat. Take that top leg, stretch the foot straight up to the sky. Make that leg as straight as you can. Point the toes. And bend your knee. And send the foot back down to the floor. Stacking your right leg up on top of the left. Get that little squeeze. The inside lines of your legs are just pressing together. That left foot now can lift up off the mat. If you'd like to take it in a little more. Grab a hold of a knee, a shin, something that is accessible. And the more you press those feet away from each other, the more intense it will get in the hips. So if we were sitting up, this would be cow face legs. So some of you who love or hate cow face in that seated position, this is exactly what we're doing right here. We'll bring that left foot back down onto the mat, arms releasing to your side. And we'll We'll do that very slow release here by lifting the right leg up to begin with. It's nice and straight. Think of pressing that pit, that backside of your knee, towards the front wall. And then point through the toes till you start to feel something in the front of your foot. Hopefully that's not a foot cramp. Press the backs of your shoulders into the mat. Bend your right knee, let the foot come down. Send both knees over to the right and roll all the way onto your right side. We're just going to make our way up to seated, so use that top arm to help you. Coming back to seated, so if you like to be propped, find that blanket. Take both hands straight out in front of you, arms straight to begin with. Make sure you're seated tall, you're not rounding here. Then bend your elbows, grab opposite elbows with your hands. So just like when we had our fingers interlaced, try to build that little bit of tension as if you were trying to press the elbows out to the side walls, but your hands were not allowing that separation. And then keep yourself just holding on to those elbows. Start to lift the forearms up. If you have T-Rex arms, they may not go all the way up overhead. Mine kind of run into my forehead here. And then let the arms drift back down. Press the elbows all the way down into your belly or your sides. Keep that long, tall spine as you lift the forearms up again. Lower it back down. And one more time, we'll lift it up. Pause it right here. Release your hands from your elbows. Sweep your arms out. Bring them all the way back behind you. Bend the elbows and grab either opposite elbows, opposite forearms, whatever is the most accessible for you. Back behind your lower back. And then inhale, release, sweep the arms out and up. Ram your hand into a doorknob if you're me. Grab opposite elbows or forearms above your head. And then we'll just sweep those arms out and down. We'll just move through this pattern a few cycles. And like always, we're going to use our breath. Big inhales as your body, your arms get big and wide. Exhales as you bring it back in. Let's do one more time up, one more time down. When you've completed that last time, release your hands back behind you. Just kind of place the fingertips down near your bottom, a little ways away. And we'll take our legs out in front of us. Bend the left knee, and we'll send the left foot to the outside of the right leg. And that might mean you want to scoot the right leg in a couple of inches more towards the midline. Make sure that left sole of the foot is pressing down, and your left knee is working to point upward. So it's not falling out to the side. Keep your left hand where it is. Reach your right arm up by your ear. Start that process of twisting over to the left in the direction of the bent knee. And then holding this twist, bend that right elbow. See if you can connect the elbow to your knee, bent knee. And then send the arm straight up by your ear again. Bend that elbow, send it down, connect to the knee. And then one more reach up. Take the elbow back to the knee, and we're going to press knee to elbow, elbow to knee. You might be on the very top of your knee. You might be on the inside line. If you're super bendy, you might be all the way to the outside edge. On your next inhale, reach the arm back up towards the sky as you unwind your twist. And send the arm back behind you. Stretch out your left leg. Let your feet do a little dance, any dance they want to do. And we'll take our right foot to the floor. Bump it over here outside of the left leg. Make sure you are set up. Good foundation. Right sole of the foot down in the mat, not on the edge of the foot. And your right knee pressing inward. The right hand's going to stay on the ground. Just keep supporting you here. Sweep the left arm up. Try to keep all this length as you twist, twisting off to the right. Ask your belly to help move you into this space. Bending your left elbow, connecting it somewhere with that right knee. Inhale, reach the arm up. And then exhale, elbow to knee. Lift it up one last time. And then we'll bring elbow to knee and we will hold. You want that place where they're meeting to be pressing into one another. And the left arm, bring it back up. Keep it up as you unwind your twist. And release the arm down. Stretch out the leg. And this time, just kind of bend and straighten your knees or move the legs side to side. And we will come all the way to all fours. So now, coming into our peak pose here for the night. Not really, I'm just saying this is as high as we're going to get today, is tabletop. I'll let you decide what our peak pose is. Start by tucking the toes under everybody's favorite tuck toe version of child's pose. So start to send your hips back towards your heels. And you don't necessarily have to sit all the way down like a full-on child's pose. You might want to keep some weight pressing back. Maybe you might even want to use your hands to help press you back. Depends on how much you love or hate this pose. And then just to change it up a little bit from how we've done it in the past, try just very subtly shifting your hips left to right. If it gets too intense, just don't sit the hips back as far. And on our next inhale, we'll just press ourselves back up to table. Untuck those toes. You can even give them a tap out if they need a little bit of blood flow to encourage you to come back. If your wrists are feeling a little funky tonight, you can always curl the fingers in, make a very soft fist, and bring your knuckles down onto the floor. That might feel better. And you can also choose to come all the way to forearms. That's another option. Now, we're going to take our right hand, lift it up off the mat, bring it right onto your chest, right in the center of your chest. Good. From here, keep your hand right here, round your spine, like you're coming into your cat. So you're going to need to press the floor away just a little bit. So you're going to be mindful of those wrists. And then arch your spine, come into a cow. One more time, we'll round. And then inhale to arch. Find a neutral spot, flat back. Sweep your arm out to the side. Right arm. Lift the right arm up, open it up. Let your right hand move around in a circle just once or twice, and then back the other way. Take that right hand, bring it down underneath you. Thread your needle. Walk the right hand out to the left as far as you like, perhaps coming all the way down onto your shoulder. Trying to let that left hand and left arm relax a little bit, not hold you necessarily in this shape. Walk your arm back. Place the right hand down on the floor, or the right knuckles, or the right forearm. And we'll take our left hand onto the center of our upper chest. As you inhale, lift the tailbone, drop the belly, bring your gaze forward. As you exhale, round your spine. Inhale, move back into cow. And exhale back into our last cat. Back in your neutral spot. Extend the left arm out to the side. Lift the left arm up, slightly rotating open. Not slightly, you're actually quite a bit rotating open. Move that left hand around. Let it circle and circle back. And then we'll dive down. Left arm threading the right underneath the right. And settling in to thread the needle. Working our best to keep our hips centered over knees. And unwinding your twist, dragging that arm back. And then just sending hips to one side as we come back through seated. Find your prop, because we'll be here for a few moments. And stretch both legs out in front of you. Those hands can be back to help keep you upright, just like before. And just like before, we're going to take the left knee bent, And bring the left foot to the outside of the right leg. I promise we're doing something different this time. Not much different, just a little bit. So coming up nice and tall first, same things apply. You want that knee pressing in toward the midline, right toes pointing upward. This time we're going to take our left arm and draw it all the way up by the ear. As you next exhale, start that twist over to the right. When you twist it as far as you are going to twist, bend, left elbow, bring it down, connect with the knee. Inhale, reach the arm back up. Stretch that arm, get long all the way through the armpit. And then bend the elbow again. Connect it with the knee. We're going to stay here. Elbow pressing into knee. There's a little bit more space in this direction. Sometimes people twist a little easier this way. So if you're in the right position, you can choose. Keep the elbow on that leg and extend the arm downward. Grab a hold of your foot if you want to. It feels like it's going to land there. Breathing in one more breath here. And if your left arm is straight, bend the elbow again. Reach the arm up. Unwind to center. And bring the hand down. Now, before we move on to the other side, let your left knee just kind of flop out to the side here. And if you need to make an adjustment, you might want to bring like the ankle a little further over on the thigh. You just want to find kind of a comfortable way to hang out here. So think of your legs as looking like a 4. Press through your right heel and really think about also pressing through the right arch of your foot. So all that does is that lengthens the inside line of your leg. You can take those fingertips to the floor a little ways back behind you. And let that help you just slightly press forward and think about hinging at your hips. So don't just slump it forward. Stay long. Bring yourself back upright. And slide your left leg out. Let your toes trace a little circle or a figure 8. Moving them both ways. And then we'll leave that left leg out. We'll take that right foot on the floor. Bring it outside that left leg. Make sure you're perched right on your blanket if you're on a blanket, because that can make it a lot harder. It needs to be there to be easier, right? And then remember, right sole of the foot to press it down into the mat. And those fingers come back behind you. Left hand staying down, sweeping the right arm up by the ear. Starting to twist over towards the left. Right elbow, we're going to bend it, bring it down by the knee. Make that connection. And then slowly lift it back up. Maybe it even presses a little straighter this time. As you draw it down, connect it somewhere on that knee. We're going to hang out here. If you'd you'd like to straighten that arm out, you can do so. And if your elbow is on the inside of the leg, you can even let the hand reach downward towards the floor. I'm trying to see if you can sense if your shoulders are pressing away from the ears and that you don't have one shoulder higher than the other. That's where it gets really tricky. Bend your right arm again. And a nice deep breath here as you bring the arm back up. Unwind back to center. And take that arm all the way down to the floor. Right knee now comes out to the side. Find a place somewhere on that left thigh where your ankle can sit and it doesn't aggravate anything. Try flexing your right foot. That changes the nature of the stretch a little bit. Ooh. Maybe send a few inhales in the direction of that right hip. And if the sensation is good enough, you can stay here, or you can press a little bit more into the tips of the fingers, leading with your sternum, hinge forward. Take yourself all the way back upright and unwind those legs. Pedal your feet out one last time. And then we'll roll it all the way down onto your back. Take your knees into your chest just for one couple last moments here. Hug your knees in nice and tight. Gently press the back of your skull down into the mat. And then press your knees away from your chest. Not quite setting the feet down, just pressing the knees away. Let go of the legs. Let both legs stretch up towards the sky. And then just give your feet, your legs, just give them a little shake. Kick them out a little bit. And then pause. Send both feet down onto the floor. Stretch your arms up overhead. Once again, it's like the hands are reaching for the wall behind you. Let the whole front of your body move with breath as you actively stretch those arms upward. And as you next exhale, sweep your arms all the way down by your sides, being mindful of furniture or people around you. Let your legs either choose movement or just stretch them out into your chosen position for relaxation. Remembering that Shavasana can look any way that works for you. Taking whatever it is you need for support, moving that into place. Allowing your eyes to close if you are comfortable with that. listening to the sounds of the room around you without really engaging with what those sounds are. Noticing if your breath is soft or if it is perhaps making a sound that you can hear when you allow this quiet. Asking your breath to find ease as the rest of your body follows suit. Drawing your focus back to the flow of your breath. If you listen hard, can you hear the sound of your own breath inside of your head? Start to find some small movement. Maybe a little nod to your head. A little sway to your body. And let these movements become whatever they next become. Taking yourself over to one side. And when you are ready, coming all the way up, back to seated. And when you next inhale, draw your palms all the way out and up overhead. Pressing the palms together. Exhaling to bring them to your center. Bowing your head to the light you carry within. I thank you for being here this evening. I hope that your week is great. And I hope that you have health and wellness and peace along your journey. Namaste.